Hey, it's Biz. Let's talk money, the bacon, the bucks. For all my paper chasing nurses out there, here is a good old map of the US of A, and you're going to notice that the average hourly rate is listed on the corresponding state. While you're listening, feel free to interact, jump in the comments below, and let us know how you feel about these numbers. Like, really, do we think that these are legit? Over the span of the entire United States, the average registered nurse is making $82,000 a year and have a mean hourly wage of $39.78. And as we view this map, it's very obvious that these figures vary greatly from state to state. I was pretty impressed with this number. It isn't a hateful income to live off of, but you also aren't going to be the next housewife, if you know what I mean. Now remember, these numbers are averages, so my new grad nurses out there, these numbers will likely be higher than what you will be offered. And for my seasoned nurses, these numbers may seem low depending on how many years of experience and accolades you have behind your name. Let's look and see who is in the top 5. Coming in hot is California at almost $60 an hour. They're officially at $59.62. Surprise, surprise. Not. West Coast is the best coast, and it seems like they aren't disappointing us when it comes to nursing salaries. Next up is Hawaii. They're averaging $51.22. Also not shabby, since that equals out to $95,000 a year if you're working 3 12-hour shifts a week. However, it is well known that Hawaii is an expensive place to live. So someone from Hawaii, drop me some prices of the necessities like milk and bread. You'll also notice that this is almost an $8 difference between the 1 and 2 spot, which is pretty significant. Appears that California is the highest number by a lot. Oregon is coming in at $47.42 an hour, which could be great for those who are seeking stunning nature scenes and can handle some rainy days. Another plus of this state is that they do not charge sales tax. However, the income tax is slightly higher than what you may be used to in your current state. Coming in number 4 is Alaska at $46.74 an hour. Alaska, like many other industries, offer high wages. However, it's usually compensation for living a little more off the grid than most people are used to. Coming in at $46, you need to decide if that's worth the extreme seasonal changes and an occasional moose. Number 5 is Massachusetts. Someone, finally from the East Coast. My massholes in Massachusetts. I kid, but they know what I mean. They are averaging $46.46 an hour, which isn't too shabby. So what do all of these states in the top 5 have in common? High cost of living. So even though you're making a significant amount of money, it is also likely that it is costing you a near arm and a leg to live in that area. Raise your hand if you're paying $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 a month to live in a tuna can. Now let's look at those on the bottom. Hey, Hawkeye State, I see you there with $31.25 an hour. This is Iowa, making the bottom 5. There are some things to consider with Iowa to balance the pay scale. The cost of living is almost 10% lower than the national average, and the housing market, although we know it can change frequently, is almost 30% lower than the national average. So this might not be the worst choice. Next up are Arkansas and Mississippi. Very similar, coming in at $31.64 and $30.35 respectively. And last we have sweet Alabama and South Dakota. These are my only friends on the map that are coming in under $30 an hour. Ouch. Now, if you're looking at these numbers and looking at your paycheck and thinking, dang, I'm making chump change and need to make something happen, then stick with me because I have a few ideas for you to increase your income within a year or two of time. First, we have the clinical ladder. Most organizations have a clinical ladder or something similar, and as you meet the requirements, you go up the ladder, and most of the time there's a pay raise that is associated. So, for example, a new grad nurse would enter as an RN1 or a novice nurse, and then as you progress to 2, 3, or 4, you're considered a mentor, leader, expert. Now, all those titles are great, but we're talking money today. So, how does this impact your paycheck? With each advancement, usually comes more money per hour or a one time bonus. Here is just one example of clinical ladder qualifications. You're going to notice that on this clinical ladder, the levels are based off of minimum years of experience and qualifications. The qualifications look like they include a lot of education, either through formal education like your bachelor's or your master's, or certifications. But like I said, this is just one example. All right, the next way to make more money, the old charge nurse position. Now, with my experience, when you ask someone if they want to become a charge nurse, you get one of two responses. First response is, sure, I'll try it. Second response is, heck to the no. If you're willing to try it, you're often looking at another dollar or two per hour. If we do some more math, we'll find out that this is roughly $25 per shift, and this is why many will say they want nothing to do with the charge nurse position. But that $25 a shift will add up over the year and even give you experience for more advancement, like a supervisor position. Just some food for thought. If extra work of a clinical ladder or charge nurse position isn't for you, I have the night shift. If you know, you know. Night shift. I was a night shifter for many years and loved it. Night shift brings you more money per hour and a different vibe. I'm not saying that it's less work, but the workload is definitely different. You're looking to make anywhere from $1 to $5 or even more an hour for night shift, depending on if it's through the week or a weekend. Also, you will need every single dollar you make to reinvest in yourself so you don't look like a zombie during daylight hours. Just saying. Last but not least, to make more money, you can just pick up extra shifts. There's no surprise that hospitals are short-staffed all over. You don't necessarily have to pick up a full 12-hour shift. If your job needs your help, then most likely they're willing to work with you. Maybe you will only want to work a 4-hour shift or request that you only work on a certain unit. Set your boundaries, and if they're agreeable, that's great. And if not, it is what it is. All right, let's recap. We talked about the average salaries for registered nurses state to state. Remember, to balance the number given the cost of living in those states and lifestyle factors specific to you. We also discussed ways to increase your current salary by moving up the clinical ladder. I know, it's work, but it's worth it in the end. You could also take on a charge nurse position. Remember, it can bring about other opportunities. And last but not least, you can become a vampire and switch to night shift, or even consider picking up extra shifts. Let's start some good conversation below. But remember, be kind.